We are back with what I've decided to call the Tekkit Methods series, where I talk about the various cool things that I can make in Tekkit. So, in our last episode, we made this awesome wheat farm, which as you can see is still running pretty crazily, although it's not really filling up, and the main problem is the bone meal. Now you can see the rest of this is doing fine, it's getting there. Bone meal, however, it's not so fast. So I thought not everyone can afford a tier 3 collector like this one, so it might be better to have a mob farm that could harvest mobs for us and do it all for us. So I built this massive structure over here because I thought a ender pearl is one of the most valuable mob drops at 1024 EMC, so it would produce a lot of bones per one. So I wanted to make a mob farm that didn't use any water, because that'll obviously just annoy them and they'll go away and they won't fall down into it and they won't die and blah. Also, we have a major slime problem, you know, it is what it is. But this one is actually very inefficient, it seems. There's not much in the way of actual mobs actually dropping. So I'm just going to quickly go ahead and turn this on and we can see how it works. It's quite slow, so let's just get inside here. So what it is there's pistons behind here, and these are all floors, and the mobs spawn on it and then they drop. Just like that, you saw? And then at the bottom here, sorry, without falling out of it, once it closes up, the mob suffocates in there. And let's turn it off now. And when these pistons open up again, because there's pistons behind here, so when this opens up again, whatever drops they made will fall onto these filters and be sucked out into tubing underneath and go to your chest or whatever purpose. So, but like I said, it's not very efficient. I think that there's not really enough spawning space. I decided to try and counter that by making it really tall, but it didn't really make that much of a difference. In about half an hour I got maybe 10 bones and a couple of gunpowder and 2 ender pearls and not much. So I've been mulling over the problem all of today, and I came up with version 2 here, which you will see is a bit uglier. Maybe it's more lumpy anyway. It could be built underground, with the only exposed part being these solar panels here, or you don't even need these, you could have another bluetricity generator. But yeah, it's not the prettiest thing in the world, and I don't think that building it out of stone helps too much. But it is much better. It's been running for a little while now, and I've already gotten this much stuff, which is in my mind a lot better, because I mean I actually was going to record yesterday, but this thing was a giant flop. I didn't get much. So let's have a look at how this one works, because it is subtly different. So in here we have the same setup with pistons and being compressed and suffocated, and filters and a pipe leading up to a storage chest. I made it go in a little U around there so that there's less chance of any light getting in there. But then the main difference is in here. So instead of having a small area and a narrow ledge, I decided I would use frame motors and have a rake that pushes the monsters off. So you can make it multi-tiered like this. It works pretty well. I believe you can move a maximum of 1,000 blocks with these frame motors and the frames. So you can build it pretty big for very little actual mechanization. The only redstone is on these pistons and a little bit down there. So it's a lot cheaper on the redstone at least. You also don't have to use iron. I use iron for a lot of my building and for things like that because I like the look of it, okay? Don't judge me. So, all we have here is we've got a moving arm here to which these motors are attached. And then we have here a basic interchange system. So the fastest these frame motors can move is 1 block per 0.8 seconds. So I calculated it out. I've got 8 blocks worth of movement, so I made it at 6.4 seconds because 8 8s are 64. And it just goes into the toggle and it chooses which way it's going to go, and it swaps every 6.4 seconds. You can lock this mechanism and stop it from moving anywhere further, just like that. If you want to allow this more time to fill up with mobs, obviously you should try and get it on the other side of the cycle. So if I was to do that now, this will move back to there, and then it can just stay there and wait for stuff to spawn. Cool. So that's now locked into the wall. You can see I took the time to very carefully carve out into the wall exactly where this thing should go when it's on this side. So that worked pretty nicely. Oh, look, we've got some zombies down there. Okay, so this is all very basic. You don't need much in the way of wiring with these frame motors. They will just connect to any other Bluetricity item that's next to them. So I've got the solar panels directly into a chain of batteries all the way down, and the batteries directly into the frame motors. Now the frame motors are pointing towards each other, so that we have one going that way and one going that way. So this is very simple. It actually uses very few different components. So let's quickly go ahead and build it. So we'll start. We need stone or whatever construction material you like. You need pneumatic tubes. You need filters. You need pistons. You need red alloy wire. You need 4 timers. Actually, I did change it because I had it first where there was only this side of pistons and spiders couldn't fall into it, so I quickly built on the other side here and included a timer here for that one, which is set to 15 seconds. Plenty of time for anything to suffocate, and it's not really tied to the functioning of the thing, whether this is open or not. That the rest of it will still work fine, so it doesn't matter, and anything that happens to be standing on here when it opens will fall in and be trapped. So let's quickly make another one. I'm just going to make this one smaller because these are quite slow. Let me just grab the rest of it. 2 frame motors, some support frames, 2 toggle latches is fine, iron covers, solar panels, batteries, and an output chest. So let's just make a quick small one here. So we have that. I'm just making a little U shape there for the light levels. I like to surround the base here in whatever building material as well. Just like that, and let's put this over there, and let's, oh yeah, I'm creative. Let's go over here and get our chests out, and then put our chest over here, which I will probably have to refer to every time I want to make a thingy. We do need to double this up though, because of the spiders. So let's just do that and that, and then that's good, and then we just close this up again. Alrighty, and then we just make it 2 like that, 2 like that, cover this up, cover up the sides here. I did make it 3 tall, the crusher section, because of Endermen. It's no good if they can still breathe while they're supposed to be dying horribly. So we just extend this out to 3 on either side from these, and you put your pistons however wide by 3 high and 1 back, because otherwise when these are activated, let's do this, things can stand in here, and if they are being squished between the fronts of 2 pistons, they might glitch out and stand in this space instead, and then they won't die. So that's no use to us. We need them to die, and we need them to die horribly. So that's good there. Let's do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we take our wires and we lay them up the back here. just like this, and just like this. And then we can go ahead and close up the sides here. I'm in creative mode, so I can do this from 3 high, which is fine. It helps speed me up a little bit. You should cover up the back of the pistons, but for this quick example I won't. The reason being, whenever the pistons are activated, light can get in. So it can cause a problem, but for this one I'm not particularly bothered. So just go ahead and line the front of your pistons with some stone blocks as well. And maybe dig out here just to run a wire for the timer that runs these. So just like that, and then we just and we just pop a timer on this and set that to whatever delay you want. It should ideally be above 10 seconds. I'm going to go for 15 again because it's what I've done. Right, so that'll tick every 15 seconds and be great. So then you just go ahead and close this up over here, and you start making your floors. This one's going to be quite narrow, and it's only going to be 1 layer high, so I'm not going to bother with the whole comb structure. I'm just going to make a big ass block that moves in and pushes things along. So just like that and like that, and then this is how far deep? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We needed to move 5 spaces forward. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then we need to line this up with covers. Any kind of cover will do, as I said, but it needs to be lined with covers because otherwise these frames will pick up any block they attach to, and it will stop moving if a block that it's attached to encounters another block that it cannot attach to. So let's just close this up on the bottom especially, and over here as well. And the front, I guess, is not so important because it's going to be stopping before there's anything for it to actually stick to. So that's fine like that. Right, then we need our frames. So we pop one here and one here, which I'll have to rotate with the screwdriver, which is another chest. No. I don't have a screwdriver because I threw it away because I'm an idiot. We can go ahead and get rid of the covers now, and we don't need the pneumatic tubes and that, so, and that really. So I'm just clearing up some space so that I can actually put the rest of my stuff in the inventory and not have to find it again. So this one here we will set to face inwards, and this one here, okay, this dark section indicates the back of the machine, so this is now aligned, and this makes a little arrow here pointing in the forward direction. So if you can't see it, if you can't see the front with its obvious arrow, you can use the sides to tell which way it's pointing. If you are really clever, you can also use this light spot here from the back to be able to help you as well. So then all we need from there is some redstone attached to these. That doesn't even have to be directly attached, but I will need to build this out a bit more and put another one here. We're going to build a circuitry plate down here. How big is it there? How big is it here? It was not very big. It was 1 layer down and then just one of the... Okay. Cool. So 1 layer down. That's actually fine, and 1 more over there. So we put a timer there, actually another layer down because it needs to go around the corner, and one over there. So we put a timer there, a timer, these timers should be pointing outwards from there. Please excuse my mistakes, I'm trying to do it a bit fast here. And one in there so you can lock the mechanism if you want to. Go ahead and set this to 0.8 and this to 0.8 and this one to however many spaces it has to move, so 0.8 times 5 is 4 seconds. Just like that. So that'll work perfectly. Every 4 seconds this will flop from side to side and make it work. Then we can go ahead and put batteries. You also don't need as many batteries or as many solars as I put here. It's a bit over designed, but the more you have, the more likely it is to last through the night, so I didn't go sparingly just for that reason. So I'm going to make this with about maybe 16 solars just to guarantee that it's probably getting enough. If you don't know Bluetricity, these batteries will not output power until they reach a certain charge threshold. These are slowly charging up. Once it gets to about there, it'll start filling up into this space as well, and it'll start outputting to bluestone blocks around it, Bluetricity blocks around it. So then all else that I need to do is go ahead and surround this so that nothing can stand behind it or next to it or wherever, and cover up the back here. And you should ideally also cover up your feeder tube, just so that no light can get in there as well. It doesn't have to be amazingly covered as long as it's not getting light through. So like that is fine. And then after that, all I do is just cover this up. Oh, yes, of course, red wire there, and there, and there. Cool. So I do need covers actually. Just so that I can seal up by those wires. So cover. I'm just going to grab the first one that hits my mouse pointer. Let's just go ahead and cover these up here. It doesn't have to be amazing. Usually, like on this setup you saw, I have a very tall system, so when I close that up, this layer is perfectly dark. All the layers above are perfectly dark. But this layer does get a little bit of a leak, but it's fine. It's not a problem. There is still plenty of perfectly dark space around it. I saw there's a bunch of mobs up there, so let's go ahead and turn this on and see how it do. There, here it comes. Let's see. Let's watch how many fall. Whee, that's nice. Cool, I approve. And then they all get crushed instantly. Perfect timing. Okay, so we can watch this here and see that it is working fine. It goes there, it hits, it stops, it turns around, it goes around. Blah 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 blah. All we need to do is seal this up. Remember, Endermen are 3 blocks tall, so you should ideally make this about... The cavity should be about 4 blocks tall. Just like that. So let's go and seal this up here. Okay, also do make sure that they can't stand over there, so you'll need to seal this up from here. You can go ahead and cover the top of these as well, just for the light levels, if you are concerned. Obviously, if you're making this underground, you can skip this entire step. It's, well, it's underground, so it's not a problem, right? But it should be, you know, the confines of the machine should be the confines of the machine. Okay, so that's perfect there. We can go ahead and stand inside of here and just watch it go. Now this little version probably won't work because there's a lot of light coming in there. But yeah, like I said, that bigger one should work fine. So there it is, my incredibly simple, really, for its efficacy mob farmer that doesn't use any water and can therefore harvest ender pearls. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I will probably pipe from this one into my little wheat farm over here to see if it grows any faster, if it's actually sufficient for the bone meal production then. and I will report to you on that progress. If there are any other cool concepts you want to see, please let me know. I will try and figure out anything you throw at me. If I can't, I will also let you know, but I will try. I guarantee I will try. Oh, that's maybe why there's so much light. I didn't cover up this side. Okay, let's go and do that now quickly, just because... Alright, and there it is. It's about as covered as it's going to get. These timers and what are putting out some light, so if you put it away from where the actual openings for the motors is, it might have less light, and you might have more opportunity to cover it up and prevent. Yeah, there's a few little problems with doing it above ground, but for the most part it works, and it's easy enough to fix that, you know. Okay, I hope you enjoyed. This has been Aegis Lighthammer. I will see you again in my next video. Enjoy your evening.